Nice to see you again. How's your day going?
Fantastic. Couldn't be better.
Oh, amazing. So good. I have been super interested to hear your story as well, and how, we had one conversation, but to dive a little bit deeper into it and what you want to share. Thank you so much for coming on today and for chatting with us about escaping narcissism and, kind of how you're helping people in the world. So maybe just share with us, what's your story, and then how did you escape? Because you have an escape story.
So I was born and raised as a Jehovah's Witness. I left the organization when I was probably 25 or so. So I have all of those limiting beliefs that have already been programmed and instilled into my unconscious mind. And that led me down a path of feeling sinful and unworthy going into the world. I got pregnant when I was 20 and was disfellowshipped, of course, for the second time. Was completely abandoned by my family and the congregation, obviously. Trying to get back into the congregation, I didn't feel it appropriate to make friends outside of the congregation. So I was pregnant with only the person I was with. I had no friends within the congregation and no friends outside of the congregation because I was trying to get back in. Complete isolation, if you can only imagine. Never had a baby before. All sorts of thoughts of just feeling like a horrible person. Just the less than the dirt on the bottom of somebody's shoe. And the congregation was pushing me to leave my son's father, actually to make a decision, either marry my son's father or leave my son's father, because apparently it was confusing some of the witnesses, because we would walk into the Kingdom Hall together. So I was disfellowshipped, he was speaking to people, and the congregation was so confused. So because of that, they sat down with me and had a conversation. It was very tearful, and I had to make a decision, and I felt frantic to make a decision because I was trying so drastically to get back in, to get contact with my family again. And I broke up with him. I left him, and when I left him, he got so angry with me that he left the state and left me by myself. So now I'm actually by myself, trying to pay rent on an apartment, a phone, a car, gas, utilities, bills on a minimum wage job. Like the last speaker was just saying, Cindy, you're not educated. You don't do anything else with your education. So I was just working, probably, I don't even remember, but like minimum, trying to do all of this, pay for daycare, and fell into a narcissistic relationship. So spent 13 years of my life with a man who emotionally, mentally, financially, and sexually abused me. I actually went into the relationship at first because he was financially stable, and I was like, my car was being repoed, my apartment was getting eviction notices on it constantly, and I thought that this man was going to save me. I thought that he was sent to me from God. And within a year, he successfully invited me into his house. He was like, don't worry about your stuff. Come into my house rent-free. Then soon after that, it was, don't worry about your phone. Put your phone on my plan. And then soon after that, it was, don't worry about your car. I'll buy you a car. And before that, he had actually had me quit my job and start working for his job. So he owned my house, he owned my job, he owned my car, and he owned my phone. So the only thing I owned was my clothing and my son, obviously. Had no money in my account. He paid me a salary, or as I used to call it, my chore money of $250 a week. And that was to pay for all the groceries for the family and all the miscellaneous stuff like Tide and dishwasher detergent. So I had no way of saving money. And, at this point, still didn't really have really good contact with my parents. Still no congregation. When you're thrown into a relationship, a narcissist relationship, one of the things that they do is they isolate you. So still didn't make any friends because I was still trying to get back in. But then, he didn't even want me going to the Kingdom Hall, which now I'm kind of grateful for. But then I still wasn't making any outside friends. So it was a long, hectic time. I had 8 years in, crying on the bathroom floor, feeling horrible, feeling as if this was my punishment. I used to actually say to myself that I deserve to be treated like this because this is my punishment for getting pregnant out of wedlock. God is punishing me, and that is why I am in this situation. And so I was on the bathroom floor, 8 years in, Googled, why is my boyfriend bullying me? And my eyes were just opened up to the world of narcissism. And I realized that it wasn't my fault. I realized that it was all him. He fit every single category appropriately. And I had to get out. So I opened up a secret bank account. I opened up a secret storage unit. And I started selling all of my clothes, everything that I owned. I started secretly taking pictures and posting them on eBay under the radar when he was watching TV, when he was, out. And I'd probably do maybe 5 to 6 pieces of items a day. I did that for 2 years. I made $10,000. Wow. And at that point, actually, that was the first time I made $6,000. I'm sorry. I started to get kind of cocky, kind of like confident. I was, pushing back a little bit more. And one day he had come home from work, and I left my bank account open for like a little bit longer than I should have, my secret one. And he kind of glanced over my shoulder and he saw I had $6,000 in there. He flipped out, had a total crazy rage. And he said, that's it. I'm no longer paying you your $250 a week. Obviously you have money saved up, so you live off of that. So I had to live off of that. Obviously it went down to zero. I had to start all over again. Finally, after 6 to 9 months, I don't remember how long it was, he started paying me again. Had to do it again. And I started thrifting, reselling, and under the radar, made $13,000. Then my son's father, who also has high narcissistic traits, came back into the picture 11 years later. At this point, he had given me no child support. He asked to take my kid on a camping trip. And on the camping trip, he decided he just wasn't going to give my son back to me. So he wrote me this long email that basically said, thank you so much for taking care of him for the past 11 years. I got it from here. And wow. Long story short, that's a whole story in itself. $18,000 later in legal fees, trying to get my son back, full custody, spent all my money again. So now I was $3,000 in debt because I had the money saved plus credit card debt now because I had to pay the lawyer. So I had to start again. And at that point in my life, I remember sitting in my car at one point, bawling my eyes out, believing or debating on whether or not I should commit suicide. Whether or not this is 100% God punishing me. Like I keep trying to get out. I keep trying to escape. I'm working my butt off at his office to be a mom. If you're a wife of a narcissist, you know what that is at home. He was OCD, cleanaholic. So the whole house had to be spick and span at all times. And I continued to try to work this second hustle to get out. And it keeps not working out for me. Like the unluckiness of it. How could I be so unlucky? This must be a sign. This must be God telling me that I am a horrible person and this is where I belong. And it doesn't matter how many times I try, I will be stuck here for the rest of my life. And I had to make a decision. I said, I remember I was bawling my eyes out and I was like, I have a choice. I can either live like this for the rest of my life or live like this for the rest of my life trying to get out.
Right.
And either way, I'm in the situation. Either way. But if I live my life in the situation trying to get out, at least there's hope. And I made a decision. I said, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. And at this point, I went full force. I was still selling on eBay and OfferUp. And then I started working on Fiverr, which I don't know if you know what Fiverr is. But I started doing marketing videos for high-end companies. So I didn't even care. I was charging $50 to $250 for like a 2-minute video. And I put on my professional face because I was running his whole company behind the scenes. I was dealing with directors. I was dealing with customers. By then I had built up my professionalism and I freaking killed it. I made $26,000. And June 21st, 4 years after we had gotten engaged, I left on our 4-year anniversary and walked out the door.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So wild.
Thank you.
I don't know if, sorry, my internet's going wonky, so I didn't know if I was frozen. Keep going.
That's it. That was it. I left 4 years later, after, 4 years after my original engagement, and left. I got my own place. Obviously, the story is incredibly long, but I don't want to get into it too much. But the object of the game, or the object of the story, is that I just kept doing it. I failed, did it again, failed, did it again, failed, and got out. And that's the point. It's what is the length that you're willing to go to get your power back when somebody is trying to steal it from you. How many times are you going to resist and fight for your power?
Yeah, your life and your power. Yeah, incredible. And I think with narcissism, it's really important to understand, like, I think, this is my opinion, is narcissists they're really hurt inner children. They are so wounded that they have gone in. So he was hurt somewhere, and I don't know his story. We're not here to talk about that. But, being able to move out of that kind of control is when we have been controlled by someone, whether it's a religion, a parent, a spouse, or a relationship, just observe, is there anywhere in your life that now you're controlling? Because what I learned early on, we have some sexual abuse in our family, and it's, how I was taught was that when an abuser abuses, it's because they had their power taken away and they're trying to now control someone else or something. And so I just, encourage anyone who's watching, if you're feeling like you're in that situation, there's help. Like, definitely reach out to Sabrina. She has, a lot of experience, and that's what her mission is helping people in these kinds of situations. And you'll talk more about that in a second. But also, just looking at your own life, where are you controlling? Are you controlling yourself? Are you, purposely punishing yourself? It's just really being aware of what's going on around you. Do you have a freak out if the furniture gets moved? Do you have a freak out, if this happens or that happens? It's just simply any of the things that trigger us are happening for us. It's our medicine. It's to show us where in our lives maybe we need a little bit of coaching or healing or something, so that we can, be stable emotionally and not be in a fight or flight or freeze, or a controlling. It can even be, you go to the gym too much. You are really focused on what you're eating, and now you're in judgment zone because if someone's not doing what you're doing now, there's a judgment of someone else. And it's just really looking at, where are you at, right?
Yeah.
To be aware of that, and what the coping skills are based on what had happened, and how you can rebuild your life. You can rebuild your brain, you can rebuild your habits, you can rebuild, like you did, your whole life that you had to. And what a story, of perseverance, courage, but also that you did it. Like, look how you are here today as a great example of someone who, not even just from a high control religion, which I think, was part of the patterning for you. Yeah. And then it's easy to fall into relationships where that's the case, because it's what we were used to, where you didn't have a voice and you just allow someone else to take over. We were programmed for that. But now that we have the skills and we know what we know, you don't have to do that anymore. And so please share with us, like, how did you create your business? Where did that, like, I guess I should just say, how do you help people?
I do want to say one thing, though, to touch on what you previously said, and I'll get into that. And I think it's really important because you mentioned the fact that narcissists have had trauma in their life also, and that's why they are the way they are. For those of you who are dealing with narcissists, or for those of you who might think you are with a narcissist, it's important to realize that my theory, and from what I've read, is narcissists and empaths are actually parallel to each other. And a lot of times they come from the same exact, very similar backgrounds. And at a point in your life when you were younger, you made a choice to either go this route, love, or to go this route, hate. And the difference is leaning into your emotions and trying to fix everything and trying to make everything perfect for the narcissist so that he doesn't get angry, which is what I did. We were always tippy-toeing, and we still do, around my father. Or to go completely black and completely emotionless and to turn everything off. And that's what a narcissist does. And over years of practicing turning all the emotion off, the bullying comes out and the emotionless comes out. Now, what I want to mention real fast is, as an empath, what I dealt with, and I feel like a lot of empaths deal with this, once you find out that you're dealing with a narcissist and you realize that they are a narcissist because they were abused in some way many times in their past, an empath has a tendency to still want to help. When I learned that part of it, the whole narcissist thing, and then I'm like, yeah, I'm not the one, and he's the one. And then as you dig in deep and you start to realize the hurt that they actually have, there's a part of you, for me, there was a part of me that wanted to stay to help, because it wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault that he's like this way. And what you have to do when you're an empath dealing with those feelings is realize that it is not your responsibility. It is absolutely not your responsibility to sit here and be their savior and be their punching bag and be their physical punching bag, their sexual punching bag. That is not why you were born here on earth. And I don't know if you believe in God or if you don't believe in God. At this point in your life, I know we're talking to a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, and a lot of times they're split pretty down the middle. But it doesn't matter what you believe. I 100% believe that you absolutely were not put on this earth to be someone's punching bag. That is not your purpose. Absolutely not. So if you feel like you're sitting here and you're like, I have to be here and save them and help them, and once I do this then, and then once I do this then, and then all of these, things that you're going to do to help, absolutely not. Your responsibility is to take care of yourself and to find your purpose. Our purpose is not to control or to help people who are abusing us, making us cry, making us feel bad about ourselves, making us grovel on the ground. That is absolutely not your purpose. So if you are in that situation where you're feeling that, and I know that there's people out there, you have to be stern in your conviction and know that absolutely not, this is not why I'm here. I am not on this earth to do this. I have a bigger purpose. Yeah. So with that, I own a company called Human Better 365. It's all based on time management and organization, and that sounds very not warm. It sounds very cold, but that's the foundation. So I believe that a lot of this stems, if I'm completely honest, from Jehovah's Witnesses constantly telling me I'm going to die. Hurry up, we're gonna die. Hurry up, we're gonna die. So because of that, I have this instilled in me that we only have an allotted amount of time on earth. So because we have an allotted amount of time on earth, and because I have a full purpose in what I am doing in my life, and I believe everybody does, you have to manage that time that you have because you only have a certain amount. And so I have an entire program based on a 90-day planner that I organized, and I help women. I actually have a course called How to Leave Your Husband in 365 Days. And I also have another course called Empowered Empaths, which comes after that course. And it basically takes women through not actually leaving their husbands. That's not what the course is actually about. It's kind of meant to be sort of funny. I believe that a lot of us are missing joy in our lives. A lot of us are missing happiness because we're having to be so serious all the time and do all of the things all of the time. So it's meant to be sort of funny. But what the program actually is just giving you financial stability so that if you decide you want to leave, you can leave. It's not about leaving. It's about getting your finances correct, whether it's outwardly with him or secretly without him. But just being able to have that source of finances if and when that time comes. Because what happens is when you're trying to leave a narcissist, they put you on a roller coaster of up and down, up and down, up and down. When you're down, you're like, screw this, I want to leave. And then when you're up, you're like, never mind. And then you're down, and it's a consistent thing. So you can't stay consistent with making a plan because right when you're like, screw this, he brings you up again and he takes you out to dinner and tells you you're a queen. So it's this constant thing. So what it does is it's not telling you that if you don't want to leave, if you decide you don't want to leave, you don't have to leave. What it's telling you is that once you're done with the roller coaster and you can't do it anymore, you have that money and you can just leave at any point. It just gives you power back. And then the Empowering Empaths is after that course, if you decide to take it, and it's all about healing. It's all about healing and bringing you back to your real, authentic self. I can't hear you. I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Did you hear me that whole time?
I did, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I did.
Because I tried really hard to look at the mic, so you literally could have been like, I can't hear you because I wasn't looking at your picture. I'm getting a really good boob shot right now, by the way.
Oh, sorry about that.
I'm kidding.
Family show. My computer wasn't cooperating this morning, so I put my phone on data, and my phone just froze. So that's why you couldn't hear me. So I'm back on my computer. Yes, I heard all of it, and I wanted to say, I really liked how you talked about the empath and the narcissist are the opposites. Yeah. And again, I don't love using titles, but we resonate. We know what those mean. And especially if you're an empath, you understand. But I want to say, even as an empath, what I find a lot, and not your program and what you're doing, I think what you're doing is fabulous. But in the industry, the spiritual industry, or some might be talking about empaths, is that it's like our lot to live. No, it's not. It's empower yourself and learn how to have boundaries, how to stand in your power. But also an empath, there was a form of control. Right, and we're drawn to someone who maybe has stronger skills than us or whatever. But an empath is also someone who still controls because you're people pleasing. You're doing things to walking on eggshells and stuff like that too. But the people pleasing is something that you think like, oh, I'm just being a nice person, or I wanna help people. But what is the motive? And that was something I had to do for myself because I definitely can resonate, with being an empath, but it doesn't mean that you're the angel and the narcissist or someone who's controlling is the jerk or the one who, is the one in the wrong. It's just simply, where are you controlling now as the empath? Because anyone who has been controlled is going to control someone else. Hurting people hurt others. And Yeah, that's one really important thing I think with empaths is that they think that they're in the clear and they're like, oh, I'm the victim. Yes, definitely. There's some hard things that are there, but then also just like look at your own life. Are you now controlling people? Are you trying to control your family or the ones who are still in and you're trying to control them or get them to see it your way? You're like, but I have all this stuff. It's like, okay, just one thing that, I teach people is just stay in your lane, put on the blinders, just focus on your own healing. It's not your responsibility to save anyone or to tell them to do this or to do that. Everyone gets to make their own decision, and we all have free will. And it's just simply the more we focus on our own healing and we lift ourselves up, we get stronger. We learn how to have emotional resiliency, building boundaries, how to say no. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when we've been raised in an organization where we had to do all the time. It's just really simply looking at your life and being the observer and saying, okay, I want to make some changes. What's step one?
Yeah.
Go from there, right?
Yep, 100%. And I love that you said that and you called out the empaths. You are 100%, and I am 100% guilty. And when I found that out, because I remember even thinking, but when I was saving to leave in my head, because my identity was that I was the good one. It was always, woe is me, I'm the victim and I'm the good one. Look at all the stuff I do. Look at everything I'm doing. Look at all the weight I'm carrying. And it becomes an identity and it becomes a way to control. And when I realized that took some real hard and still reflection on realizing that we are also manipulating the situation in order to stay in that. Yes.
It's survival. It's really what it is. And since joining Rodney's group, so funny. Like I thought I had PTSD, childhood PTSD. And he's like, people don't have PTSD. Yes, we went through something really hard. There's a religious post-traumatic syndrome. I definitely think we could probably relate to that. But then I probably about 3 weeks ago, I was like, oh my goodness, am I a narcissist? Because I know that I can be controlling. But I do that control, whether it's in sales or business or, even having fun. I noticed that I will have, like I used to bring mustaches to parties or events and stuff, but I would bring extra so that everyone had to do it. So it wasn't just me alone being funny. And, it was just like more control.
Yeah.
Where if they were doing it too, then I felt safe. It's all from survival. And so just look at your life and where are you in survival? Where are you maybe controlling others or yourself or what you're eating or, because we were controlled, anyone in a high control group, we were controlled. We had our power taken away, but some really good news is you can get your power back and you can, release the areas in your life that you are controlling yourself or others, and there is freedom. You're going to feel so good. You get to just do you do you, and things are just really going to start to flow. But oh my goodness, your story is just unbelievable, and thank you so much for sharing, for what you're doing for people. We have your website up that people can reach out to you, and thank you. I know we're going to have more conversations, definitely, and
100%. And I just want to say, for real, like, it's all about leaning on other people's power. So if you're feeling like you're in a bad spot, you have to lean on other women. For those of you that are watching right now, leaning on stuff like this, hearing other people's stories and allowing them to create. I always liken it to like a rope on the side of a mountain, and you're trying so hard to climb the mountain with your hands and your bare feet. And it's hard because you don't have all the equipment. So what you have to do is you have to borrow other people's equipment. You have to borrow their ropes. You have to borrow their shoes and borrow their gloves until you can afford or you can get your own. So being on platforms like this and being open to watching things and reading things to really help you learn, those are you borrowing other people's things and other people's power so you can keep climbing up that mountain until you can really afford or create your own stuff. and then just keep climbing up. And that's all we're doing. That's all we're doing is we're all just trying to human better. We're all just learning how to human better. That's what it's all about. But being okay with leaning on other people and hanging on to other people who are maybe a little stronger than you right now.
Being okay asking for help.
Yes.
Because when you've been put down, you have this fear of asking for help. And
Yes.
it's okay. Ask for help. You need it.
Yep, that's it. That's it.
Awesome. I could talk to you longer. Definitely have to go.
We will, for sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Appreciate you. Okay, bye.